kind of attacked him there.
Fucking hell. Got me with my pants down.
No, you've had that already this morning, fella.
No consent allowed here.
That was fucking crazy, man. I was just mid talking and then boom, recording started. Let's go. Blues on in the background again, Shannon, no watching it.
I am. I've been watching it the whole time.
I'll put my big head in the way.
Oh,
Now you've
damn
got
it.
now you've got less hair. We can actually see the sides of the TV.
I know. I honestly see when I got my hair cut, I genuinely must have lost about a stone and a half. My
Did either of you
traps.
watch the Hannah Montana reunion?
No.
Oh.
Shannon, we are working full-time parents. Like, we don't have the luxury of being in an operation and having 5 days to recover of doing fuck all.
Well, while I was waiting for my operation, I watched it. It was only an hour, guys.
Speaking of, how is recovery going?
Recovery is happening. It feels like I've done a million sit-ups. Everyone keeps texting me being like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, that is the best way to describe it. A million sit-ups. Um, the gas pains, no one warned me about that beforehand. Holy God, that was intense. That was absolutely horrendous. All the gas in your shoulder. Oh, nasty. Nasty feeling. Yes.
You're going to have to go deeper than that, Shannon.
Oh, well, apparently when you get like a keyhole surgery or a I can't say the fancy term for it, but people will know what I'm on about. Um, they fill you with air so they can see inside you more. So one of the holes is like basically like they're filling you up, like your stomach swells out full of air. And then obviously they stitch you up and whatever. And all the air is trapped inside you. So people have mentioned that like you'll feel a little bit sore in your shoulder because the gas is like stuck inside you and it has to come out. I'm not even going to lie. I was like unintentionally farting, and the pain of that I thought was going to burst the stitching. I was like, oh my God. I woke up, yeah, not last night, the night before, to this horrendous pain in my stomach. And I was like, what is that? And then it was just like gas coming out of me. And I was like, oh, that's sore. And no one warned me beforehand that happens. So, yes, Gary, I see you raising your hand.
No, no, I was just going to say I've done a few farts in my time that has been sore. So, yeah, welcome to the club.
But that, no, that was unintentional farting. Like, that was like just gas coming out of me. And I was just like, oh, this is painful. But yeah, you get it in your shoulders a lot. A lot of people put talk about it in the shoulders. I got it in my right shoulder a lot. It just feels weird. Weird
Yeah,
feeling of gas in your shoulder.
strange one, but glad everything went well when you have at least some answers.
Some answers, not all the answers, but look, hate to say I told you so, but I knew I had endo.
Yeah. So what's
I
the
called
what's
it.
the what's the next steps now? Now that you've pretty much been well, you've been diagnosed with endo now, haven't you?
Yeah. Um, to be fair, it is kind of just like flatline feeling because they didn't take the cyst out because it was so attached to the ovary. They were like, I did consent to say you could take the ovary if that was the case, like, but they chose not to do that because they were like, you're still so young. We don't want to take that ovary off you. So they basically like drained it, which means it can come back. They found another cyst in the fallopian tube. They did actually take that one out, not the tube, the cyst itself. And they found endo all on the left hand side, which is where the giant cyst was. So the endo has been sitting behind this cyst and no one could see it. Obviously, you can't see it on scans anyway. So in 8 weeks, I have a follow up appointment, but I don't know what leads after that. They didn't
Fucking
check
endo.
bladder, they didn't check bowels. They did what they had to do in that short space of time that they had with me. To be fair, I was the longest one under. Like there was about six of us in that morning, either getting the coil or getting a similar surgery. I was turred up. I was under for 3 hours. Most of them were only about an hour or so. And I was the one that was held the longest back because I took a reaction to the anesthetic as well, which was strange because I've never reacted to that before.
Yeah.
Did,
How did you feel when you did you get woken up when you had to?
No, I just woke up and you will probably laugh at this because I asked the nurse straight away. I was like, "Where's my vape?" Now, fully out of it, but I was like, where's my vape? Because I'd be so used to having the vape beside me. I was just like, where is it? And she was like, no, you don't have a vape. And I was like, can I have toast yet? Where's my toast?
When I went for my hernia operation, I had to get woken up after being under, and I vaguely remember as I was getting woken up, I was speaking about Sainsbury's, and at the time I was working in Sainsbury's, so I must have been dreaming about work. And I kept asking the nurse, what was I saying when I woke up? And she kept going, never mind. So I don't actually fully know what I was saying. So
Oh
I've got a
no,
wee.
I fully knew. Like when I woke, I was just full of the chats, and your one was looking at me like, shut the fuck up. Like, will you stop? And
Oh,
then my gynecologist surgeon woman, she came around and she said it to me there. And then like I wasn't even back in the room yet. Like I had woken up in the like little room just outside the surgery. Um, and she was telling me about the endo being discovering that. And like cheeky bitch me was like, told you so. And I
quite
was
right.
like, oh no. When I
Fuck
realized
them.
then when I got back to the room that like I already had this conversation with the woman, I was like, oh, I'm a cheeky little bitch, like saying that to her. But she was like, you're 100%, don't panic about like what you say when you come out. Like she was like, I
Yeah,
knew myself, I had a feeling you had endo anyway. I just didn't want to confirm it to you before we seen it. I was like,
yeah.
okay, just once you don't think I'm a horrible person for being like, told you so.
To be fair, I think they had every right to say I told you so, given the amount of times that they just had you fucking running about like a headless chicken. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But look, we're on the other side. We have 4 incisions on our tummy, and I get the shower today, which is so exciting. I haven't showered since Monday. I can't
Yeah.
wait to wash myself and change my band-aids.
I can smell you through the camera.
Yeah, I'm in the same pajamas since Monday. Like, disgusting. I change my pajamas every 2 days. Like,
I mean,
disgusting
you're
behavior.
fucking you're recovering from a quite an
A
intense
major surgery.
surgery, yeah, 100%. So give yourself a break. Kyle's obviously had enough of this chat because he's
Yeah.
just completely pissed off. So I don't know if there's anything else that we want to catch up on quickly before he comes back, or if we want to just dive in. Oh, hello and
Let
welcome to the GMAC, the oh my God, the BioFitwares
Oh
podcast.
my God, Sakin. A Sakin is appearing.
What
Oh,
the
he's came back for
fuck?
that now.
Fuck me, I leave for 2 minutes and all of a sudden it's the GMAC podcast.
Oh,
Wow.
fucking hell.
Welcome to episode 1 of the GMAC podcast.
I'm
Fucking
your host, Kyle Watson.
honestly, ears like a midden rat, Kyle. Fucking hell, you heard that for a mile away, didn't you?
Thanks to Dominic and Tony for the music on the GMAC podcast.
Yeah, so welcome to the Biofit of Fuzz podcast, everybody. Just clearing that up there that we are Biofit, not fucking GMAC. Kyle, well, we just dive straight into. I mean, I'm saying dive straight into the topic. We've spent the last 10 minutes talking about Shannon and Orlando, so will we now move on to the actual topic of the
Well,
podcast?
actual talk.
The actual
The
topic.
people want to hear from me, guys. All right.
True.
Local celeb.
Very true. Wait till honestly see when you come over into Scotland. I'm hoping that somebody goes, is that you for the Biofit Fuzz podcast?
Oh no, I'd die. I'd die. I'd be a global sensation at that point.
Oh, I fucking love
That's
This will
actually,
make me laugh. It actually hurts when I laugh still.
believe me, this hurts me as much as it hurts you right now.
I actually have a question for Kyle before we move into the topic.
Go for it.
The jumper. Show us the label, the like logo. Is that a strength shop?
Well done, Shannon.
No, I was just curious because I was like, I didn't know they did clothes. It's quite a nice jumper, actually, to be fair to you.
Thanks, Shannon. Feeling good in
Yeah,
it. Brings out my
Good.
yeah.
eyes.
You feeling like a boss bitch in it? That
Well,
you're the king of the strength?
none of which, but I have moved. So here's the typical guy thing. We're moving house in 2 weeks. We've got the 10th of April. We've been moving stuff into the new house, and me thinking I was being really clever, I gathered up all my clothes, folded them, put them into suitcases, and then I'm like, class, I've moved so much. And then realised I've given myself 4 different things to live between. I've literally got two t-shirts and two jumpers, and it's the things that I don't ever really wear. And I'm going. I've got 2.5 weeks to ration out this. I literally woke up this morning and went, I've got one pair of boxers. This is a problem. So one pair of boxers, and as I said, there was no toilet roll this morning, so it's been already a very traumatic day, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet.
Yeah. I mean, you can get four pairs or four wears out of one pair of boxers, so you're all right.
Four, man. Two is my record. How are you getting four?
Two. Normal, inside out, front, back. Sorry.
And here's me feeling disgusted and being in the same pajamas for 4 days.
I'm obviously speaking from experience after having travelled through Australia and not showered for 21 days because we were in the middle of the fucking outback.
I want to clarify something before we get to the major topic. Shannon, you still are disgusting.
I am. I am. I can't wait to shower today. I'm so excited.
Shower and get ready all the farts before you even think about venturing outside.
Oh, I won't be going outside today. It's only day 2.
Fair.
I love how she said she was full of fucking gas, man. It's just all the vaping you've been doing.
Well, they wouldn't let me vape. That's
How
the
did
problem.
it,
They
how did
took
it
it
feel
away from me.
without it?
It was grand before going for surgery because I think I was that nervous. I didn't even fucking care about not having the vape. But see, waiting around to be collected when I felt fine at that point, but they were like, no, we need to monitor you. I was like, oh, lads, let me out for a vape, like just to entertain the time at this point. And they're like, no, because if you collapse outside, that's a problem. And I was like, what do you mean? I've watched all my shows, like I'm done, let me go.
Fair enough. Well, I'm still going strong. No vapes
Well
this
done.
week. Fucking come on. The intense hunger cravings, the intense cravings for nicotine have dissipated. The last week was hard. This week, much easier. Feel great. Not craving Rachel's. It also helps that Rachel's got a really horrible flavour in her vape.
That usually
But
does help. Or if the coil is burnt, I hear a lot of people saying keep trying to smoke a burnt coil,
yeah, oh
because the taste of it will just throw you off it.
yeah, you feel it. Anyway, let's get into the topic before
Yeah.
we keep talking about vaping. Um, well, the first topic, if we make it to the second, then great. But the first topic is a topic that could probably get us into a lot of trouble.
Good.
Let's fucking
I
go. We're
love
going to talk
trouble.
about the body positivity movement. Is it good? Is it bad? What does it do well? What does it not do well? And just generally, generally, what's our opinions on it?
Think we should talk about what brought us here in the first place. It started about a week and a half ago when you put into the group chat the 20 versus 1 debate with, what was it? Gillian Michaels was her name?
Gillian Michaels. And if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. It is linked in the last episode. And we touched on this obviously briefly last week, but we're going to dive into things a wee bit deeper this week. But go back and watch that video. It is, as I say, linked in the show notes. It's about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes watch, but in my opinion, it's well worth it.
Oh, it really was. I was glued to it.
And there is a Scottish person in there who is the most fucking cringe out the lot of them, of course.
Broke my
And
heart.
that says something when you've got another 19 Americans, and then it's the fucking Scottish one, it's the most cringe.
It's always a double-edged sword seeing like a Scottish person in anything, because like you hear the accent and you're like, oh, classy are represented, and then you realise it's Shrek, Groundskeeper Willie, like one of the things from Lord of the Rings, like Billy Connolly's a troll or whatever it is, and you're going, right, that's not particularly how we want to be represented. We talk about how Scottish people get marginalised, and the people who do play good Scottish people end up being Australian alcoholics. So yeah,
Racist and misogynistic as well, apparently.
so Scottish really.
Pretty much. So how do we want to approach this? I think we should talk about what the body positivity movement does well first, and then what it doesn't do well, and then our honest opinions off the back of it. How does that sound?
Kill me. Do you want to start with what you think it does well then?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
GMAC show,
100%.
remember?
The GMAC show. So what I think it does do well is it helps reduce body shame or appearance shame. It can arguably help improve. mental health for many people as well. Especially, people that are constantly chasing a certain dress size, a certain physique, more so in women and potentially kind of young adults or even adolescents, because of the stigma and the shite that social media kind of pushes on everybody with unrealistic beauty standards. It can also help. How do I word this? Um, Encourage kind of self-acceptance and let me try and think about how to word this. Helping with the idea that self-worth isn't just dependent on appearance. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean that's what three, four things that I think it's done well. That it does do well. Now, obviously, there is more context to each of them, and it can be taken the completely wrong way, but we'll dive into that in just a wee minute. Do any of you want to dive in with what you think it does do well, if anything?
I think if you're going to, like, when I listen to the program, I'll be honest, there's a lot of things that I found hard to listen to. I'm sure we'll get into that. I've got fairly strong opinions on a lot of things. I would say what it does well though is, and again, I can't live the same life that someone else has lived, but a lot of the people on it talked about discrimination, but it wasn't just discrimination for being like technically bigger in responsibility, but it was discrimination against like basic human rights. They didn't go too deep into it, but I'm like, what the body positivity movement should do, for instance, and does pretty well, is give an acceptance to the fact that everybody should have basic human rights. And I know that probably goes without saying, but I genuinely don't care what size, shape, gender, race, sexuality you are. I think everybody should have basic human rights and the right to do that. I think the body positivity movement does that pretty well. But outside of that, I think giving everybody the opportunity to express themselves as to who they are, also is massive within that as well. But outside of that, being honest, I don't really have anything else to add outside of what you've said, Gary.
Sweet. Shannon, I believe Milo has turned your camera off.
Oh, I know,
Um,
I'm letting him out.
oh, fair dues. We were just about to come to Shannon now, but yeah, I completely agree, mate, and I think it has allowed people that maybe don't feel, excuse me, accepted in society because of size, gender, whatever it is, race. It has created a bit of a safe space for them, which is, in my opinion, it's a really, really good thing. Now, I just want to preface this as well by saying, like, this is not us bashing the body positivity movement. This is us trying to separate facts from feelings. Like I said it last week, and I'll fucking shout it for the rooftops if I have to. You should love the skin you're in, like 100%. But when it comes to what body positivity movement is promoting at times, it can be fairly dangerous, and I think that is what we're kind of getting at here. Shannon, do you have anything that you want to say that you believe the body positivity movement does well?
I struggle with the body positivity movement personally. I don't think it's a great thing, if I'm honest. I think first of all, even from that debate, the body positivity movement, when you hear that first, it's love the skin you're in, love the every shape, size, whatever. Yes, 100%. You should like yourself as a human being. But where that group was going with it, when it comes down to race, gender, uh, who you
Sex.
like, sex, like to me, that's the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard in my life. That is not what body positivity to me is. Like that's a different kettle of fish. And I personally think it's now being used as a cop out, if I'm brutally honest. I can't see where the good is coming from it now when you're starting to intertwine different communities to just cover up the fact that you're not happy in your own skin and you're just using this as your front. And my biggest issue has always been when it comes to body positivity is Lizzo. Lizzo was the biggest lover of body positivity, and now she's taking Ozempic. So you're not that positive about your body. Yes.
I've had a wee bit of time to think about this, and for me, I'm like, if I'm basing the body positivity movement on what I think it is versus what I feel it should be, they're two different things. So
Yeah.
for what I seen in that documentary or whatever you want to call it, YouTube video, was a lot of overweight people talking about how they've been discriminated against for overweight, and at times arguments being how they're in this position not by choice, and using words like they've ended up being fat bodied, or they don't like the word obese, and changing, like, it's like fucking George Orwell stuff where you're changing words to suit your own narrative. And I'm like, that's the biggest load of nonsense in my opinion. And whilst being overweight isn't entirely your fault, it is also your responsibility, and you can do things about it, would be my opinion. However, if what I think the body positivity movement should be, and again, this isn't my area of expertise, I'm talking about a topic that probably is going to be highly debated, and I'm okay with that. But I've coached tons of people. I've coached people with fucking six pack abs who still don't feel great in their own body. I've coached people who, like, genuinely some of the best looking people that I've ever come across, and they have more insecurities than anybody. I'm like, the body positivity movement for me should be, you should love the skin you're in, like, and there should be a place for everybody, and learning to accept who you are, and understanding that where you are is worthy of respect, and where you are is whatever. But I also don't think you should turn a blind eye to, there is always, when it comes to body composition, obviously we work in body composition. When it comes to body composition, there is always a choice, and there is always a different level you can go to. What level you go to, it doesn't really matter. There is a lot of comparison out there, and there is a lot of insecurity. But I think having someone constantly chasing, where I do agree, is diet culture isn't great at times, and I do think there probably is, if you're super receptive to that, that is an issue. But I don't think body positivity, if diet culture's on one side and that's wrong in terms of how deep that goes into, I don't think the complete opposite needs to be true, where I think the ground is there somewhere in the middle. And I used this example to somebody yesterday. I was like, for me, there is a lot of people who've been burned by things. So it's, for me, it's liking it to, see, what I think of is, there was a girl I used to work with who went on stage, and she got, like, I mean, shredded. She was like fucking 40 kilos, living on fucking ice and dust to get there. But ever since then, there was a massive rebound. She's dead against calorie counting, because she's like, it's super restrictive and it's super, like, harmful. And I'm like, it's not calorie restriction that's the issue. It's the fact that there was no flexibility for you to get to where you went to, and where you went to was like a level that, like, 99% of people will never go. The issue is what you've done to get there, rather than the method of what it was. So I do feel body positivity, for what it should be, in my opinion, can't might not be a bad thing, but what it currently is and what it was expressed as, I got large reservations with how it came across.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it came about because a guy's wife was getting bullied or negative comments
She
about
was
her.
discriminated against
Yeah, because
by
she
an
was
airline
fat.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so because she was fat, like there's no trying to sugarcoat it. So she was fat, and she got discriminated against. So he then created the body positivity movement. Nowadays, though, I think that that term has been completely bastardized,
Yeah.
and this is where people just start to use it as an excuse for their own poor decisions. They use it as an excuse because they quite literally cannot be asked to look after themselves or their own health. I asked the question last week, is there such a thing as a healthy fat person? And I think that obviously came off the back of the documentary, or the debate. But a lot of people are now just using the body positivity movement just as a means to live and not care about their health, and then promote that to other people, which is when it becomes dangerous, especially young adults or adolescents. Like, when they are seeing the body positivity movement, and they're saying, "Oh, that's great, I can be part of a community," which in itself is amazing.
Mhm.
But when it's promoting unhealthy habits, unhealthy lifestyles, and essentially taking years and years and years off your life, that's when I have a bit of an issue with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, last week we never seen any furries on it going, I want to be accepted as a fucking cat. Do you know what I mean? It was all overweight, morbidly obese individuals who were trying to explain to Jillian that they are healthy, they are happy in their own skin, when in reality they were using that debate last week as a fucking therapeutic dump of all the trauma that they've experienced in their life, which is where the issues fucking lie. You do not need to be in body positivity movement. You need to be going to fucking therapy. You need to be moving a bit more. You need to be eating a wee bit less. Yes, Kyle.
That got to me. So they were like speaking about Gillian, and Gillian brought up the point where a lot of people's food issues actually come down to stress, trauma, and using food as a tool to change emotional state. A lot of them rebutted against that. And then one of the key comments, and there was a lot of this fucking wording that I've never heard in my life. They would rather be called fat than obese. They call themselves fat bodied rather than anything else. And even the sentences that sound like they make Yoda sound like proper legit. They were like, what happens if somebody wakes up and as a fat bodied person? I'm like, you don't just go to sleep and then all of a sudden you have an outer body experience and you wake up and your BMI's fucking off the scale. Like, it didn't happen for a wee
Puberty
snap.
won't do that to you.
But that's if like it doesn't it happens through chronic overeating over time. And whilst yes, 100%, some of that can be down to your genetics, and by some of it, 60% of it's down to your genetics. There's more of it that's not. However, what we are overlooking, what I feel that a lot of those people are overlooking when they were questioned, was the 40% they can control. Some of that is the fact that I did feel there was a lot of victim mentality happening in there. And one of the things you said, Gary, that I picked up on, because again, people's words are important. They said when Gillian talked about having therapy, because the girl asked her, might even been the Scottish person, have you had therapy about your food issues? She went, yes. And then our next thing was then another dig going, well, that's great for you because that's a privilege. But I'm also going, in almost the same breath, this person, without a hint of irony, was then going, I need to pay for 2 seats to go on a plane. I'm like, if you're talking about therapy being a privilege, being on a fucking plane's a privilege as well. So choose your privilege. I'm like, stop making out as if like one of them is out of reach for you, but then the other one is something you can't live without. Like, if you're somebody who wants to go on a plane and you're too big and you need to cover 2 seats, fucking use the money and go to therapy. And then you know what? You'll probably save money in the future because you won't have to use 2 fucking seats because you've sorted your issues.
You okay, mate?
No, I've got fucking blood vessels coming out.
Right, let's dive a wee bit deeper into kind of the topic that we're on about the criticisms and what we believe that it doesn't do very well. I think the main one for me is how much it blurs health and appearance. It's because everybody's so focused on love the skin you're in. It doesn't matter what body shape or what size you are. They're so focused on that they actually forget that health is a massive part of how you live your life. And there's so much misinformation online because you've got like the people in the debate last week promoting like scientifically weak fucking claims about weight, metabolism, health risks, like literally arguing with a health professional saying that they are healthy, that their blood pressure is fine, that they are not pre-diabetic, when you can just see that they are not okay. Where they get this information from is again more body positivity influencers or people that are online, YouTube, Instagram. So it's all coming from fucking somewhere when we have actual scientific evidence and actual scientific proof that being overweight and having more mass on your frame than it should is very unhealthy and it's very fucking dangerous and it is going to take years off your life if you do not do anything about it. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, and I know it's pretty much like I keep saying that the health impacts that it has, but I just obviously wanted to expand on that a wee bit more. But that's the main thing for me, that it does very, very poorly, and it is bordering on dangerous.
Did you watch the sequel?
No, I didn't see it because I watched you know that way when you're on YouTube and it shows you a little clip. I started getting wound up.
I didn't even notice there was a sequel.
Right, so there's a sequel, and there's one of the girls who, by the sounds of it, she didn't explicitly say it, but she sounds like she's going to be Gillian's client. And she was talking about the fact that she actually struggles a lot with the fact that she feels that she's abandoned. She's an influencer for body positivity, and she actually, a lot of the things that she's scared to give up is what's keeping her stuck. So she's like, I have a brand that's a clothing brand that is for overweight people due to the body positivity movement. I have, what's the other thing she has? An Instagram following where I keep talking about how it's okay to be overweight. And my issue right now is if I am going as a client to Jillian and I start losing weight, she's like, I feel like I'm letting all those people down. And then she did also say, from a financial point of view as well, she's like, I'm going to probably lose money and identity. So there's a lot of things in terms of the people you surround yourself with. I'll give you a good example of this. Like I was going to say in Glasgow, they've started getting rid of all the like flats and stuff because they've realised that when they put lots of like people in lower how to say this, lower income brackets together and in council flats, if you group all those people together, that tends to breed a bigger environment for violence, bigger environment for like continue with that mindset because you're surrounded by like-minded people who then it's like the only way out, there's no positivity, there's the only way out is to again like fucking sell drugs and like to violence and all of those things. They do it like to take it away from Glasgow to MDs. Listen, they do it in New York. You look at like the projects and stuff. The reason the crime rates are high there is one, lower income, but two, they're grouping a lot of the same people together. The problem is when you group the same type of people together and there's no way out of that, you then bounce off each other. So like you see, I made this when I was doing a talk last year, is when you're in a pub on a Tuesday and you're in a pub at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday and the same people are there at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, none of them are going to tell you it's wrong to be there at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday. You turn round to one of your mates and they go, where have you been all day? I've been in the pub since 3 o'clock. It's Tuesday, mate, what are you doing? Like it's like the thing is who you surround yourself with will dictate that. And a lot of people, where if you argued with somebody, if you pulled somebody out of a pub on 3 o'clock on a Wednesday after they've been there every single day for the last 2 years, and you said to me, what you're doing is not particularly great, and are you okay? They're like, I'm healthy, I'm happy. There's people that are worse off than me. They surround themselves with people who are like-minded, and it's very difficult to shift somebody out of that mentality. It's important to question, and you should have people in your life who question it. The biggest issue I have with the body positivity movement is every single scientific claim that Gillian put to them, they didn't have a rebuttal to that. It was a case of, no, I don't believe it. And like, whether or not you believe science or not doesn't make it less true.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did you get the term obese from? Where did that term come from? What? Like, what?
Yeah, I'd rather be called fat. Well, that's helpful. Like, so when you call somebody an actual substance, like nobody's called it. So if you look at fat, muscle, and water, like you're one of the three, you're comprised of all three of them. But like, it's not like I go to Gary, you're muscle, or I go to Shannon, you're water. Well, right now you could call it gas, but like, you
I'm
don't.
an element of something.
But you
I
then
do call myself a human cucumber as well, though, sometimes. So yeah, I would be water.
you do define yourself as what you're. So if you give someone a title, they will do subconsciously. If it gives them purpose, they will do what they can to hold on to that title. So if you call somebody fat, and like you've been calling each other fat, and you're okay with that, that's the title you're claiming. Your actions will reflect that. But I don't know. I'm not in the position, but I do think it's madness that they would rather be called fat than obese. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Like,
Because a few years ago, it was fat shaming was the worst thing in the world, and now they want to be called fat. I don't understand it.
no, it's very confusing. Keeping us all on our toes. I would also like to say this as well, right? You do not have to be fat or overweight or obese to be part or involved or like the body positivity movement.
That
And
was something I did take away from that because the Scottish girl was actually in it because of her ginormous boobies. Never
yeah,
really
so
considered that as body positivity before. To me, it's always been about weight because when you look at the other 19 members that were debating, they were all overweight. She was the only one there that I'd say if you reduced her boobies, she'd probably be an average weight person.
yeah,
I couldn't really tell. I'm not going to lie, her boobies were ginormous.
I used to have a client who, I'm not saying it's the same, I don't know if it was a medical thing, but I always, like, in terms of body composition, you couldn't really tell a massive difference. Now, they were losing weight, but I'm like, their boobs were genuinely humongous. It actually made their body shape look like they were carrying a lot more body fat than what it was. And sometimes I was like, this person's lost fucking 8, 9, 10 kilos, and you can't really make a massive difference. This is before this is back in the day of actual PTing rather than like progress pictures or anything. I never got people to take them. It was just more so in the clothes. I'm like, can't fucking tell that they've lost 8, 9, 10 kilos, but actually it's down to the fact that their boobs are so ginormous that it was literally making them look a different shape than like what they would without like having such big breasts, which to a lot of people it's not, like even Gillian said that's not like she'd love that problem, but like jokingly, which again probably can be offensive to someone that's dealt with that their entire life. But thinking that sort of sense, yeah, body positivity, positive, yeah, 100%. It's a place for you. That's what it should be. I said that at the start. Go on, Shannon.
The only issue I had with that girl in particular, not the fact that she was Scottish or anything like that, but she was talking about how so insecure she was about her ginormous boobies, her boobies ruining her life, blah blah. Girl, why weren't you covering them boobies up then, in my opinion? If you were that self-conscious of these boobies, you were practically in a bralette. And I was just kind of like, I get body positivity, you feel welcomed in that, but you keep talking about how insecure you are, but then you're literally wearing the most revealing top for them. I just couldn't wrap my head around that. I was like, you're really contradicting yourself if you say you feel so insecure about them, but you don't want to change anything about it, and then you're just wearing clothes that you feel good in, which is amazing because that's body positivity. But then you're saying that like people shouldn't look at you. I
To
just
be
couldn't
fair,
wrap my head around it. I was just kind of like, what?
I think a couple of hammocks slung over each shoulder wouldn't do enough to cover them either. The girl that we're talking about has a condition. Like it's
Yeah,
not. Yeah, she has a condition where her boobs are just going to continue to grow basically for the
keep
rest of
growing,
her
which
life.
is madness. I've never heard of that condition until that.
But yeah, I think for her being in the body positivity movement, you can understand why. And again, like that for me is what the body positivity movement should be. But she came in all guns blazing and was like trying to shoot Jillian down in flames. Anytime Jillian came at her with some like facts, scientific based facts, the girl just wasn't having it. And she was just kind of shouting
But
a lot
she
of
was there
nonsense
to
at her.
represent herself, as in like her body positivity for her condition, but she was fighting Gillian on fat people. And I
Yeah.
was like, but that's not what you have. Like you've literally just openly said it's a condition that you have for your boobs and that you feel super insecure about your boobs. And then you're fighting her over stats on obese people. I was like, you have no ground. That's not your argument, I guess. Like, you should be going in and telling her about other conditions rather. I thought she wasted her time, to be fair, in my opinion.
But then it's like when you're in the body positivity movement, you have to stick up for your peers.
Peers, yeah. But
Yeah, I
then
think,
you can't call out your peers because, bad behaviors.
but that I think that goes back to the issue is the fact that like for me, body positivity, and I've said that is to allow all bodies, and I think particularly with things that can't be controlled. I mean, like you see people with deformities, you see people with like
Mm.
scarring, you see people that like fuck, you could have squint eyes, whatever that is, and other people might not understand that. And you could have been bullied, shamed, and anything else. And like to be honest, I think the body positivity movement should do a lot to make people aware that people in different shapes and sizes and stuff can still be loved and everything else. My issue is if you're taking it as what it came across as is I'm fat, not willing to do anything about it, and I'm still healthy and you should love me. I'm like, I have a bit of reservation behind how true those statements are because we've talked about can fat people be healthy at the same time, and like again, if you go into the opposite argument, skinny people can be massively unhealthy because of their habits, routines, and everything they do. Like let's not conflate them, but at the same time, carrying excess body fat is not healthy, and I think sometimes one of the bigger issues, and I'd like to know your guys' opinions on it, is a lot of the things when they were hit with solutions or medical advice or anything else, they've made it out as if that's the enemy and it's fat phobic. Like,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree.
They don't want
Like,
to hear it.
yeah, 100% because the body positivity movement is an excuse to them. And if you can provide them with facts rather than feelings about how to improve their overall well-being and health, then they don't want to hear it because it means that they have to do the hard stuff that they've potentially been avoiding throughout the whole life. And that's one of the you raised a fucking amazing point, Nico. That's another thing that I believe that the body positivity movement is harmful for, and it's less focus on behavior based kind of health markers, and it's basically being overshadowed by like appearance essentially. So your fitness, your strength, your sleep, mobility, your cardiovascular health, every single part of that is now being overshadowed by appearance debates because it's being seen as the enemy. Do you know what I mean?
I heard actually just on the back of that, there is a bit of a change. People listening to this might start to notice this on trending as well. There has been a bit of change recently in terms of the social media side of things when it comes to fitness to be it doesn't matter what you look, it's how you perform. And whilst I think that is also a great message, like the science is also clear. Like people are getting bigger, people are getting more unhealthy, and it annoys me how actually people are now coming going, oh, I know this sounds a bit vain, or I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I just want to look better. And I'm like, there's nothing vain about wanting to look better. Like genuinely, at this point, most people could be doing with losing 10 kilos because their life would be significantly better. I'm not saying that that is the only thing with health and fitness, and I want to make sure we're not conflating things. Diet culture at times is really bad. It has done some bad things. It's a very unregulated industry. Diet culture at times probably needs to take its step on the naughty step because of some of the ways it's been manipulated. We've all seen the videos. This is good food. This is bad food. This is good, whatever. The messages aren't overly clear. But at the same time, we can't also take away the responsibility that people have to look after their own health and actually lose a couple of kilos to be in good shape. And yeah, go on, Shannon.
You no, you keep going. I'm just raising my hand for after.
Yeah, so I was just going to finish up by saying to be in good shape in the first place. And whilst I am very much for the fact that you should be able to perform, run better, lift better, and do all of that, why do they need to be at opposite ends of the spectrum? Like, why can't you do both?
Yeah, I agree. Shannon,
I have a question for you.
sure.
So, the group in particular for this like debate or whatever you want to call it. If me, Shannon Higgins, walked into that room to those people and goes, Hiya, can I join your community? I want to be body positivity. Do you think they would welcome me?
Yep,
Really? I
I
don't
do.
think they would because I don't look like them. And that is
Um,
my humble opinion. If a healthy 30-year-old woman, walked in and goes, Can I join 19 of yous or 20 of yous and be in this group? I think they would shun me a wee bit because I don't meet their standards of what body positivity is. Those
um,
individuals. And
I
that's where
mean,
the problem lies with that community. I think that it's people like that who want it their way rather than being open to every single person that they are meant to be opening it to.
I think with that, like on that video, on that debate, I think that was like body positivity radicalists.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they were very deep in it, and anybody that disagreed with anything they said were the enemy. Anything, any action that disagreed with what they wanted to do was the enemy. Um, so you do raise a good point. I do believe that they would accept you in just for the fact it is all inclusive. And I think that is a very good thing about body positivity. It is all inclusive. You don't have to be fat or overweight. You don't have to be super skinny. If you are insecure about any part of your body, then I think it is kind of all accepting as such. But it has been radicalized, it has been bastardized, and that is where the issues lie. They don't care about facts, they only care about feelings, and that is when it starts to, that's when a slip turns into a slide, and then you're fucking knee deep in it, with no way out, or you don't think there's any way out. Like that woman who's potentially starting with Gillian Michaels as a client. She is so deep in it now that she has a following that relies on everything that she says. She has a plus size clothing brand, and that could potentially go to shit when she um starts to lose a bit of weight. Do you know what I mean? So it's, yeah, difficult one. Kyle, what do you think?
I'm going to hammer home 2 points. I think people you surround yourself in environments will dictate your viewpoints on things. So I'll give you a completely different point of view on this. I was dead against people overtraining all the time and doing too much training. Now being part of CrossFit, I'm like, you're surrounded by people who literally train every day, do different things, and there's so many different aspects of fitness. You actually sometimes get, like, I've found myself getting caught up in this, going, fuck, I could run 50 kilometres a week, do 4 training sessions, I could do 3 CrossFit things, I've still got Olympic lifting to do on top of that. I could easily train every day, and I find myself like trying to raise bars, bars. That's not particularly great either, because there is a cost to that, and it's not something I can do with my time. But I'm like, you then get drawn into the people you're surrounding yourself with. They're all doing this thing, so it becomes very normal for you. Me training twice a week right now feels fucking like so jarring compared to what they're doing. It's hard not to go. Whereas if I went to like a normal gym or whatever, train twice a week's class. Whereas right now, because of the people I'm surrounding myself with, so the people that you are around, even subconsciously, you are going to mimic what they do. In terms of Shannon, would open you with Welcome Arms, I watched a documentary a few years ago, I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix. It was a guy, I can't remember the name of it. He was doing controversial stuff, he was trying to be like Louis Theroux, but he went to the Ku Klux Klan in America, the most dangerous city in America, and he joined the Ku Klux Klan. He was black, and the Ku Klux Klan allowed him to come in. They didn't change their viewpoints and were still, it's almost like it wasn't there the way they were talking about things. They just obviously didn't direct it towards him, and he was asking some questions about it and whatever. Now, of course, the Ku Klux Klan are probably as fucking simple as what you think they are in terms of the questions, and that's not the point. But the point is, I think groups will likely take you on. However, are you going to change their methodologies? No. The thing that I probably would say they'd have trouble accepting is, Shannon, if you started talking about, like, if they had an open discussion and they were saying, I just can't lose weight and I'm in this position, and you said, well, I've managed to lose weight and this is what I did, they straight away would go, well, that wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
Without trying it. And that was the issue that I had with the debate, is anytime that Gillian was going, you had someone that said, losing weight is impossible for me, or something along those lines, and Gillian was like, what have you tried? And she's like, I've tried so many things I don't even want to list them. And it's like, well, that's again a poverty answer. She was like, she dug deeper, was like, tell me what you've tried. Have you joined the gym or something? And she literally was like, oh, I've been
She
to a few.
laughed and she was like, "That's boring."
Yeah, it's boring and I don't want. I'm like, well, there's your issue. It's like, you have a solution right now. That's like, imagine I was a poor person and said, I've tried to get money. And they're like, what have you tried? Have you tried to get a job or something? Oh, well,
No,
that's
that's
boring.
boring.
I don't want to do that. It's too time consuming. Sound, that's fine. You go and love yourself being poor. But at the same time, don't complain there's not an option for you. Like, you have chosen your cost. You've chosen. I think sometimes, I've got to be careful the way I say this. Life is not fair for some people. Like, there are people who get dealt really bad cards, but life is 90%, sorry, it's 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. And I think that's the issue I had with a lot of those people. They were 90% of it was, this is what's happening to me, and less than 10% of how they wanted to deal with it.
Yeah. I can preach. I think I would like to speak about the middle ground that you mentioned earlier, that nobody's really in the middle ground, or if they are, they're not verbal about it. It's always one extreme or the other. You're either in it or you're against it. I think for coaches, or in my opinion, right, this is my opinion, the body positivity movement can be a very good thing. But again, it's just been radicalized to the point where it's now dangerous. It's my opinion, and as I said, I'm all for it. People deserve respect at any size. Um, Shaming people into behavior changes is probably very ineffective. If there's no real strategy there, if there's no real thought process behind it, if there's no real reason behind it, then just shaming's not going to work at all. Mental health matters, but so does physical health, and that is something that everybody needs to fucking remember. They're focused so much on the mental side of things and feeling accepted that they're just letting the physical side of things go to absolute shit and stripping years and years and years off their life. Health behaviours matter. Oh, this I was going to say this, but now that I'm about to say it out loud, it could be subjective or controversial. Health behaviours matter more than appearance. What do you think about that? Just before I expand on it, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I think they work one before the other. It's like the chicken and egg thing. If you've got health behaviours that are actual true health behaviours there, then appearance will follow that at the back end of that. I
Yeah,
I don't think that it's not that controversial. The biggest issue that I would have is how I've had that expressed to me before. Gary, you might remember this, I'll not name names. We had a college lecturer once who was overweight, and the college lecturer at the time, she said, she was like, people at heavier weights can be healthy. And my issue was when you seen her eating her lunches and you seen her eating her whatever, she was having far more portions because again I was super receptive to like everything back then. I was like I'm just analysing absolutely everything because I want to know how this worked. She was clearly overeating a lot of the time. In my opinion, whilst she's got one health behaviour right in the sense that she'd done a bit of lifting, on the other end of it, like the health behaviour that she's missing is the fact that she's not got control over nutrition and doesn't really understand as a consequence for overeating chronically. So, in my opinion, if you do have healthy behaviours, your body composition will follow at the back end of that. That's the way I would look at it. Yeah.
yeah, 100% love that. And then final one for me would be compassion for people that don't feel accepted and accountability can coexist. And again, this is a little grey area where people believe they can't, and that was something that Gillian Michaels was trying to get across to every single person that she was debating. Compassion and accountability can coexist, but people don't want to hear it because they don't want to be held accountable for their actions that's got them in the mess that they're in the first place. Um, I got was it yesterday? I seen a quote. 2 days ago, I seen a quote. Anyway, whenever it was, I seen a quote on social media, and it stuck with me. Because I think it's important to understand this, right? It went along the lines of you don't need to love how your body looks every day, but you can still take care of it every day. And I think with the body positivity movement, because people are looking in the mirror and maybe not liking what they see in the mirror, they're then using that as an excuse to just completely fucking ruin their own health, which is where therapy would come in, which is where the behaviour changes would come into play. If you're waking up every day and you're trying to convince yourself that you love how you look and you love how you feel, then you are potentially lying to yourself and setting yourself up for a lifetime of pain and hurt in the long run.
I, yeah, I don't disagree. I do think it's fucking mental that people stare at themselves in the mirror and go, "You are great. You are wonderful.
You
You
are
are
beautiful.
beautiful."
You are this.
Hey, what's wrong with like affirmations?
They don't work.
I don't get behind it. I just think it's the most awkwardest thing in the world.
I always think, see, when you see, it's probably more of a Facebook thing, but you see, like, used to be guys that used to put up the fucking motivational things. It always was like, oh, the people that work the hardest, or like, or my day will come, and it always be like a picture of something like Peaky Blinders in the background. And I'm going, mate,
Yeah.
you're fucking unemployed. Like, you're unemployed and putting Facebook.
Tommy Shelby's not a real person. Calm down, lad.
Yeah, the new Peaky Blinders movie shite as well. But anyway, I think
I didn't think it was that bad, but
Don't talk about it. I've not watched it.
Shannon, your taste in things quite clearly has been terrible recently, so you can mind your record. Fucking Hannah Montana.
elaborate on that one, sir.
Hannah Montana. That's it. Done. Like nothing else.
Did you not have a picture of Miley Cyrus in your bedroom as a teenager?
Yeah, I was 16 and like she was class back then. Same as that. I had two posters. I had Cristiano
Have you
Ronaldo.
seen her? She's a ride again. She's brought it back. Blonde hair. It's Hannah Montana. She's stunning.
Shannon is what she's done in between. This is the problem. It's a bit like the two people that have had them a while, Hannah Montana and Cristiano Ronaldo. They've both well past it. And I think
No, no second guesses for what one filled up the sock more.
see.
We'll be laughing, it hurts, remember?
But like, I genuinely like, as much as I think it's important to talk to yourself positively, and ultimately the opposite is also true. The words matter. If you're talking to yourself and you're telling you can't do this, you're not worthy of that, that all makes a difference. But I do have major reservations for people that like fucking stare at themselves in the mirror and tell themselves they're beautiful, because like, just because you say something doesn't mean it's true. My biggest thing always is, how can you become a couple of percentage better each and every day? Like, I understand that I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio, and I understand that Leonardo DiCaprio has a lot of things that if I say as many affirmations as I can in the mirror, I'm not going to look like Leonardo DiCaprio. So if my baseline is comparing myself to Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm fucked. But what I can do is I go, right, cool. Kyle a couple of years ago, too many pizzas, too much stress, 15 kilos heavier than what he is now. Kyle right now, yeah, good bit happier. Can I still look at improving aspects of my life? 100%. But at the same time, let's maybe take Leonardo DiCaprio out of it and look at how I get better than Kyle last week, last month, whatever.
What I want to know is, can Leonardo DiCaprio squat 200 kilos?
Fucking no chance.
Probably not.
Well, see, Leonardo DiCaprio has a fucking poster of Kyle Watson on his bedroom wall.
I didn't want to say trips, but I did sign it. Yeah. I signed it to Leonardo, and I did say there was room for you on that piece of boat.
There was at a door. Anyway, I've lost it. I've lost it talking about Leonardo DiCaprio there.
He
Yeah,
is a sexy man.
there was a few.
I'm too old for him, but you know what? Can still appreciate he's a sexy man.
Yeah, you're about 10 years too old for him.
I
Yeah.
love, well, just on the last note before we finish recording, I love how Shannon in the group chat has said, "Oh, this is you getting old. Shannon, you're not in your 20s anymore. You are part of this club. Acceptance, pal."
No, I'm 18. I'm Delulu. Body positivity. I'm an 18-year-old trapped in a 30-year-old's body. Yeah, accept me. This is the world we live in.
Yeah, Shannon woke up this morning old bodied.
Oh, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I was old bodied. I woke up like this. It's ridiculous.
part of me actually is struggling with this, because actually part of that I think is true, where Shannon does have limitations with accepting that she isn't young anymore and is still living her life like she's 21 years old. And every part of me wants to go, yes, Gary, on your point of can you still respect somebody and show compassion but accountability? This is me doing it in real time. Shannon, we love you. We love you for who you are. However, you need to get on with your life. You're 30 years old. There's some responsibilities that come alongside that. Sort your shit out.
That's why I'm in therapy and
That's
not
a
eating my
privilege.
feelings.
That's
See
a
how you can do that?
that's a
You can
privilege,
do
Shannon.
that part.
And if you didn't need to take up 2 seats on a plane, then you could probably afford therapy.
Well, I don't really go on the fucking plane either because I'm spending all my money on therapy. So
There you are. Thanks
I'm
to
sorting my
David.
life out. Why can't you guys?
Thanks to
Come
Dave
on.
and Toby for the music. Thank you, and bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.